30-minute reviews, beware of spoilers, and exploring hyperspace lanes are all available ad-free. But if you want to support the show, you can go to bewareofspoilers.com and click the support button that's available on the Spotify website. Thank you. Good morning, and wow, not morning. I mean, we're closer to morning than afternoon. Good evening, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam on this a snowy January evening. Snowier than I thought it was going to be. Because I think I've talked about this before, where it's like, we have at the palm of our hand all the information that humans need for anything on a daily basis. And when I leave the house in the morning, I'm about as well informed about what the weather's going to be that evening as a 16th century peasant. Because I don't look at the weather chart a lot. I have it. I don't look at it, though. But regardless, here we are. And I have now seen Poor Things as part of our... we do this every year, kind of, the Oscar catch-up, where we try to get through all the movies that are potentially nominated before Oscar nominations come out. That way we can be like, okay, we've seen them, we can make educated guesses about what movies are going to get nominated where, the movies that do get nominated, what we think about who's going to win based on those nominations, that kind of thing. So I like to be reasonably well informed. So I went to see, what's it called? This motherfucker, the top of his car. So I went to go see Poor Things, the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie with Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo and Gerard Carmichael and Rami Youssef and Willem Dafoe. It's a movie where it's making me reconsider our long-term plans. Because I had a long-term plan, and we'll get into it at some point in the future, probably years from now, should everything still be going the way it's going. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, but taking the best movies of the year and talking about them, best movies of the decade and talking about them, if we're still going down, if everyone's still on the same path now as we are. Either way, regardless. And the original plan was, okay, let's just use the movies that were number one. Definitively number one. So we have our definitive number one for a few years. And this is one of those movies where I think that had I seen this before the annual top 10, had I seen this in 2023, this would have been in the top 3 movies of 2023. Because this movie's just fantastic in every sense of the word. I mean, number one, I think that if this movie doesn't win costuming and production design, I feel like that's a huge miss for this movie. I think that there is no way that this movie doesn't, at least get nominated, but I think that it's gonna win both. I think that Emma Stone's a shoo-in for Best Actress. I think Lily Gladstone's in as supporting actress, not as actress. We'll see when the nominations come out. But that's a showdown that's gonna come down to it. It's gonna come down to either Lily Gladstone. I think she's in a supporting actress, Lily Gladstone. I don't think she's in as Best Actress. But I think it's gonna come down to, I think she's gonna win her second this year for this. If Lily Gladstone's not in the same category, in which case it's a little bit of a tighter. That was a maneuver. It's a little bit of a tighter fight. And we'll see, come Wednesday when we do our predictions episode late in the day. I think Mark Ruffalo is fine. I don't think he's anything too special in this movie. He gets annoying pretty quickly, and I don't think that it's in an endearing way. I think the movie's not perfect. It's definitely long, and it definitely feels as long as it is. Like you feel all 2.5 hours of this movie, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when you see other movies that came out last year, like Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer, where you're sitting through a 3.5 hour movie, and you're like, oh, that, like, I don't feel that. Like, that is something very different. And I think too, it's like, it is an interesting premise. It's a lot more fucked up than the trailers kind of indicate, and it's the kind of thing where I was like, I went into this movie expecting it to be, because I was talking to someone at work about it, like, yesterday or 2 days ago, where it's like, oh, it's Frankenstein, but it's what if Frankenstein was a girl, and that's kind of how she pitched it to me, and I had known a little bit about the movie going into it, because I'd seen the trailers, and the trailers looked interesting, like the production design around the whole boat section was just something that, like, really captured my imagination when I was watching it, and when I saw the trailer, and to that end, like, I think that for it to be the story that it is, which is like you have this woman who kills herself while she's pregnant, so Willem Dafoe was able to put the baby's brain into the body of the woman, and it's this new creation. It is so fucked up. And then it's about this woman coming to terms with what it means to be human, and what it means to be a person living in society. And it's really interesting. It's a really interesting kind of character study that works very well. And it has the potential where it could be, like, when you hear this idea, you're like, oh, that could be preachy, or that could be, it could not work. The fact that it lands as well as it does every opportunity that they have to show varying viewpoints on what humanity is and could be, it's just, we talk a lot about, the kind of the new age of filmmakers. We talk about Scorsese, we talk about, Michael Mann, we talk about, Coppola, who still will show up and make a movie every once in a while. We talk about the old guard, kind of. And to an extent, I think, we have Nolan, who's kind of like, the upper end of the young filmmakers. But when we talk about younger filmmakers, or more modern filmmakers, a lot of times it's like Ari Aster. It's Alex Garland. It's, what's his name? From what the fuck was the other movie? The other guy. I forgot his name. But yeah, it's just, like, I don't think Yorgos Lanthimos gets put into that group of auteur filmmakers who just show up and make a fan. Like, every movie that I've seen him make, it's all been great. He's another one of these people who, it's like, when I see he's making a movie, I'm there. I'm in for it. And I think that this is the kind of thing that, like, it solidifies him in that elite club of, if he's making a movie, I'm there for it day one. Well, in this case, several weeks later, because I was busy and repeatedly sick. But it is what it is. It is such a well-executed expression of humanity, I think, as a movie, that this is a must-see. And this is a movie where it's like, look, I've kind of lapsed in my collecting of movies, and to an extent, that's a problem, especially considering how digital media is slowly going away, and I don't like, not having physical copies of movies that I like. This is a movie that day one I will go out and buy the DVD of, in the same way that I went out and bought Joyride last year, or I went out and I buy every Marvel movie, and and it's not, I'm not saying it in the same category, but I'm just saying that, like, if it's something I really like, and it's something that I want to have and be able to, not question if it's going to always be on Disney Plus, or if Disney's going to do some nonsense like Warner Brothers is with the DC universe. Like, I want to know where that I have it. This is one of those movies that I want to know I have it so I can watch it again. Because this is one of the few movies that I was in, and I saw this with an audience, where you get a complete spectrum of human emotion in reaction from the audience, where you can get, it's got some of the funniest dialogue in a movie from 2023, juxtaposed with some of just the most fucked up scenarios, like, and it works so well the entire way through. Go see Poor Things. It is definitely worth your time to go see, as we continue our trek to wrap up 2023 with movies. So to that end, this weekend we will not be seeing ISS, I don't think. I think I have on the schedule, tomorrow we'll be talking about American Fiction, Jeffrey Wright's new movie that I'm very much looking forward to. I was going to see that yesterday, but I still wasn't feeling 100% with this tooth issue, and I didn't want to sit through a movie for 3 hours and then talk right after while still having a throbbing tooth pain, which I don't know if you picked up during the TED one that I recorded 2 days ago and didn't upload till this morning. Then on Sunday morning we'll be doing, what's the other movie we're doing? I think that is technically a 2024 thing. Freud's Last Session, which is a movie with Anthony Hopkins, about, which it sounds really dumb when you say it, and it sounds like the kind of thing that would be a throwaway gag in Frasier, where it's a movie about C.S. Lewis and Sigmund Freud debating religion. And I'm like, and I see that, and I'm like, fuck, sign me up. I will go see that movie. And that'll be on Sunday morning. And then we will also be doing, I will be getting back to Percy Jackson. We might do Percy Jackson tomorrow, or we'll throw Percy Jackson in there somewhere. I'm not forgetting about Percy Jackson. It's just, like I said, this tooth issue, it was bothering me to no fucking end, and I couldn't sleep with it. So I was like, all right, let me just take, when I would normally sit down to watch TV at the end of the night to do the episode for the next morning, I was just like, fuck it, I can't sleep. I gotta just load up on medication and just go out, which consisted of ibuprofen and taking a nighttime cough and cold medication to just knock me the fuck out. Which isn't the right thing to do, but it did have the desired effect. So we'll be getting back on that, and then we will also be doing that new show on Apple TV Plus. With we have 2 Apple TV Plus shows we're going to be doing. We have that and Masters of the Air, the new one with Peter Capaldi. But we have a lot of stuff coming up. We will have no shortage of content. Do not worry. And we have our first video game review coming next week over on the Backlog Files. Ordinarily we used to do them here, but because of search engine optimization, it now has its own podcast. And if you're not listening to the Backlog Files, I highly suggest it. Every week I go on and I talk about a Pokemon game, as I rank all of the Pokemon games. So, this week is Hey You Pikachu, which is one of the worst, we will talk about it, but it's one of the worst Pokemon games. And then we also talk about, is it one of the worst N64 games? And then we talk about, and then after that we have Pokemon Pinball and Pokemon Stadium. Maybe not in that order. But over there. But this week we'll also be talking about Power World, the new, from what I'm seeing from early reactions and early gameplay, it's kind of like Arc Combat Evolved, or Arc, whatever that fucking game was called. It's more like that than it is Pokemon, or more like Monster Hunter than it is Pokemon. But we'll check it out and we'll talk about that. And that's going to be over. Beware of spoilers next week. And then, as I said, Oscar nominations are coming out Wednesday, so if you want to subscribe to 30-minute reviews on Wednesday, I will be breaking down in the evening who I think is going to win in each category and why. So we have a lot going on. We have a lot of cool things coming. Stay tuned. And until tomorrow when we talk about American Fiction, have a great rest of your week.